Hello and welcome to today's episode, which is all about taking a brassica that's boring and turning it into a bite that's banging. There's a restaurant chain in the UK called Wagamama, and if I'm feeling a bit flush and I've got some extra cash for a takeaway, I'll sometimes get one. Very expensive and very small portions. But the thing I like ordering from there is Bang Bang cauliflower. So I thought, well, I've got a cauliflower, let's try and make my own and see if it's as delicious. The dish Bang Bang goes back to the Sichuan province of China. It's like a street food served there, usually made with chicken. I've had a look on Wikipedia, and apparently the name Bang Bang comes from the stick that they used to flatten the chicken down with. I think it's called a bang. In China, the dish is just the chicken, like shredded chicken in a sauce, but then it was Americanized and then breadcrumbs or like a batter was added to the outside. I'm going to do that version just because I fancy something a bit crispy. I think it's going to be fairly quick and easy. It's just a case of cutting the cauliflower down, coating it, air frying it. While that's in the air fryer, I'll then quickly make up the little sauce. It shouldn't take too long at all. Perfect for midweek. This is the size of cauliflower that I'm using. It's a fairly small one. I've taken the outer leaves off already, so now I'm just going to go in and cut the individual florets off that main stalk. I might keep the stalk and do that as well, why not? Just going to separate these down a little bit and then I'll start dividing that down a bit further. Ideally you just want to stick the whole thing in your mouth in one go. So that's probably an ideal size just for a quick nibble. And the bigger the florets, the less work you're going to have to do as well, because each piece needs to be individually coated in the crumb. A little tip when you're doing cauliflower is just to cut through the stem and then peel that back and it'll separate naturally, and then that way you don't end up with lots of little bits everywhere. And for the stem, I think I'm just gonna cut some of the outside back just so it's not as tough. I don't know if this is going to be edible, but it's worth a shot. So that's all of the florets separated down. I'm going to put a baking tray down at the side and I'll put the florets on there once I've coated them. In this little dish, I've got 75 grams of panko, which are Japanese breadcrumbs. You're just gonna have to use as many as you need. It's just gonna depend on the size of your cauliflower. I'm gonna preheat the air fryer and I'll squirt some oil in just so it gets nice and fatty inside. I think it's probably gonna be better for something that you want crispy, for the air fryer to be hot rather than going from cold. At some point I'll test that theory, but that's what I keep seeing online. Better to preheat some things, less important with others. I'm going to use some of this Oggs. The US equivalent would be Just Eggs. It's like an egg substitute, like a scrambled egg substitute. If you haven't got this, you could use a chia seed egg. Do like 1 teaspoon of ground chia seeds or flax seeds and 3 tablespoons of hot water, and that'll swell and become like a gloopy kind of liquid. I've made those in a couple of different videos, so I'll put links down there so you can see how it's done. For that quantity, I'll probably do like 3 tablespoons of the mixture, something like that. And then I can always make up a bit more if I need to. And then I'm gonna add enough milk for it to form thinner consistency, so like thick cream, that kind of thing. So we'll start with probably 1.5 tablespoons, 2 tablespoons. That's, I think, a pretty good consistency, because I don't want it too thick on there, I just want a fairly light coating. And I'm gonna add a little bit of seasoning into that mixture. Small pinch of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder, and do a little bit of smoked paprika. I'm also going to add a very small pinch of Chinese 5 spice. This one I've got is a very powerful one, so I'm being a little bit reserved with it. Give this a whisk together. So I'm just spinning the cauliflower in the liquid and then shaking it off. If you want a super crunchy coating, feel free to double dip it. So once you've gone into the breadcrumbs, go back into the panko. And just turn the cauliflower over a few times just so you don't miss any spots. I'd advise keeping one hand for dipping and one hand for breading, just so you don't end up with really covered hands. So you look like fish fingers. That's the little floret. So I'm gonna pop that onto the baking tray. You can use this same technique for other things as well. So if you wanted tofu or seitan, you can get some of the meat substitutes. If you're in the UK, the Dopsu chicken, I think that would work really well in this kind of thing, or the vegetarian butcher. That's the amount of cauliflower I've got left. That's the amount of cauliflower I've got breaded. I think I might just do it in 2 batches, because then I can get that batch on while I finish up this batch. Putting some greaseproof paper in the basket just to make things a bit easier to clean up. And then arrange these in a single layer. I'll spray a bit more oil on top. And then I'm going to tuck these into the air fryer. I think I'll do like 7 minutes and then have a look. Probably flip them over, something like that. Let's have a quick look at the cauliflower. That's after 8 minutes. So they're starting to get a bit of colour. Yeah, I think I'll do another 8 minutes. For the last 3 florets, I'm going to crush up a rice cake for you and see if that works. Just in case you can't get any panko or anything like that. Got it down to quite small pieces. Let's see if it works. You could put the rice cakes in the blender as well, get it really fine. Yeah, I think those work quite well. Cauliflower had another 8 minutes. It's starting to go very dark in places though, so I might put it down to 160. So these have had another 8 minutes at, I did it at 165. They're still a little bit pale in places, but I'm going to put the other batch in and then I'll need to reheat these quickly anyway, so I think that should be okay. I might put more oil on the second batch. I think that will help it get a bit more colour. Put the second batch on at 170, we'll see what that does. Onto the chili sauce dipping type thing that we're going to put on the cauliflower. So I've got a small pinch of Szechuan peppercorns in the bowl. I'm going to use some gochujang paste. So this is a Korean chili paste. I'll pop the link to the stir fry sauce that I made out of it. You buy a tub to make this, and you've got some other options. It's got a little bit of heat, but it's not mega hot. So it's a nice chili to use for various things. I'm also going to pop in some chunky peanut butter, just for an extra bit of flavour. You can make a really simple sauce with like sweet chili sauce and sriracha, that kind of thing. I've got this tub of gochujang, so I thought let's use it for this. This is the chili paste, so it's a very deep dark red. We'll do 2 tablespoons of the gochujang, a teaspoon of white rice vinegar, and then I've also got black rice vinegar. Tastes a little bit like molasses, treacle, that kind of flavour. So I'll do a teaspoon of that. The gochujang's got salt in it, so I'm going to hold off on adding more salt until I've added everything else. I'll do a teaspoon of toasted sesame oil, tablespoon of super crunchy peanut butter. Feel free to use smooth, that's fine. I'm going to use some golden syrup for a bit of sweetness. You could use agave nectar, maple syrup, that kind of thing. And half a teaspoon. I'm going to splash in some boiling water, just to dilute it a little bit. Just trying to be really careful that I don't flick this into the lens. Should have done a little bit less water. The thing is with peanut butter, it can swell up, like it absorbs lots of liquid. So I'll probably leave this to stand for a few minutes. Ooh, that's delicious. I don't think it needs anything else. So hopefully this will thicken. Yeah, so what I would do if you're doing this, because this is a bit too thin, I don't know if it is going to thicken much more than that. Just do 1 tablespoon of water at a time. Yeah, I mean, it's got some body to it, so I think that should be all right. So there's a very delicious looking pile of bang bang cauliflower. Looking very inviting. I'm trying to pick a piece that's not so massive. Down the hatch. I've been messing around taking pictures of the plate, so it's lost some of the crunch off it. But the flavours, yum. Just that little bit of peanut butter in the sauce. Grabbed one of the ones that had the rice cakes on it. It's worked well. I'm yet to master getting an even golden brown look in the air fryer. If you've got any suggestions, leave them down in the comments for me. Always open to ideas. You'll get the best results, I reckon, in a deep fat fryer, because then everything's getting hot heat evenly, immediately kind of thing. But it doesn't detract from the deliciousness. I like my cauliflower quite crunchy still, and that has got a perfect amount of crunch. If you want it more cooked, just go at a lower temperature for longer. I've got plenty of that sauce left over as well, so I think I'm gonna have that for dinner tomorrow. It's like a stir-fry sauce with some tofu. It's gonna be incredible. If I have any ideas for variations, that kind of thing, I'll stick those in the pinned comment for you. So have a look down there, just in case anything comes to mind when I'm editing. I want to say a huge thank you to my community on Patreon. It's your help that's keeping the channel afloat, because food is very expensive at the moment. If you want to give a bit of extra support and get some bonus content, that kind of thing, I'll leave the link to my Patreon down in the description for you. If you want some more plant-based recipes to feast your eyes on, like this video and then hit subscribe. If you turn on notifications with the little bell icon, you'll be alerted as soon as a new one's published. While you're waiting for the next one, have a look at this.